What's up, YouTube? This is Mathis97 and welcome to my WWE 2K15 Universe Mode. Here we are, episode 11, and this is the go-home episode of Monday Night Raw, heading into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And look at this matchup. We're going to kick things off with Cesaro one-on-one with Dean Ambrose. That is set to be one heck of an opening contest. Then we've got a Battle Royal to determine the #1 contender for the Divas Championship. Naomi, Cameron, Brie Bella, Nikki Bella, Natalya, AJ Lee, all competing for a shot at Summer Rae and the Divas Championship. RVD, Mr. Monday Night, one-on-one against Long Island IC Zack Ryder. Jack Swagger, the United States Champion, goes one-on-one with his arch nemesis and #1 contender Alberto Del Rio. As we know, there will be a triple threat for the U.S. title. Those two men are two participants. John Cena goes one-on-one with The Miz. And Miz, you know, while he has been losing quite a few matches since he came back, he's been winning some pretty big matchups when he does get the chance. And what about this one? The greatest of all teams reunite one more time. We got a rematch from the Vengeance pay-per-view way back in July. Man, that's set to be huge as they take on The Shield. RVD defeats Zack Ryder. The Miz! Wow! The Miz knocks off WWE Champion John Cena. Wow. That's a shocking upset there. And look at this. Natalya wins the Battle Royal, and she'll be going one-on-one with Summer Rae for the Divas Championship at the Royal Rumble. But it's time that we get into our opening matchup here between Cesaro and Dean Ambrose. And Cesaro, I mean, let's talk about Dean Ambrose. Last week on Monday Night Raw, he faced off against Daniel Bryan. Very back-and-forth contest, but Daniel Bryan just managed to sneak away a victory on the roll-up. And Dean Ambrose now, he's got to bounce back. I mean, we're heading into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, the Royal Rumble matchup, of which the Shield will be 3 participants. So Ambrose, he needs this victory. He needs to try to rebound, bounce back, heading into the Royal Rumble, because that goes without saying that there is a huge opportunity at stake for the winner of the Royal Rumble. But of course, to win that matchup, you have to eliminate 29 other competitors. Cesaro, evidently, we can assume will be another one of them. So these two superstars looking to make a statement heading into the Royal Rumble matchup. And what a way to do it. I mean, if we look at this, Cesaro, he's been on the rise. I think he's just on the cusp of becoming the #1 contender for the U.S. title. Just narrowly missed out heading into the Royal Rumble, being a part of that triple threat matchup. But what about Dean Ambrose? We've seen the path of destruction the Shield have carved for themselves in recent months. So what a victory this would be for Cesaro if he could defeat Dean Ambrose, especially coming off of his victory over Big E last week on Monday Night Raw. And here we go now. Of course, a bit of a chain wrestling to kick off this one. Of course, both these two superstars, very skilled, very technical superstars in their own right. Look at that. What a counter from Cesaro. Turns it into a bit of an armbar there. And now manages to slip away there, does Ambrose. Cesaro now has him in a waistlock from behind. But like I was saying, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view is coming up. And not only does Dean Ambrose have an opportunity to build some momentum for the Shield, I mean, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in their matchup against the one-night-only reuniting, of the greatest of all teams, or the best in the beard, whatever you want to call them. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, both looking to make statements heading into the Royal Rumble. Of course, CM Punk, we can assume, will be a part of the Royal Rumble match, but Daniel Bryan, he's got a huge clash coming up with the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. So Daniel Bryan, he's got a lot at stake heading into the Royal Rumble, almost more so than competing in the Royal Rumble matchup. I mean, his career could be at stake. This is a career-defining match for Daniel Bryan. And CM Punk, of course, Royal Rumble. I've already explained the opportunity that goes with that. But the Shield, you know, if we take it back to Vengeance, the Shield won the matchup there, and that's going way back to WWE 13, the very final pay-per-view of that series for WWE. And I mean, what about that matchup? That was a very back-and-forth contest. Shield, of course, at the time were not nearly as established talent that they are now. They weren't nearly as big and as strong and as credible as they have become. So this is going to be a huge matchup of epic proportions tonight to main event Raw. But for now, I mean, we can't overlook the match we've got right now. This is a clash of two workhorses, two superstars who, they're the future of WWE, these two men right here. I mean, just look at the talent pool we've got blossoming here at this point in time in the WWE. We've got guys like The Shield, Cesaro, Big E coming into his own there. You know, just bringing in some new divas as well, and the Funkadactyls, Paige, Emma, they're going to be coming up fairly shortly. Tamina Snuka as well. And I mean, the list just goes on. There's a good crop of superstars making their way up the ranks here in WWE. But the question is, are they going to be able to capitalize on this opportunity? Because with so many superstars coming up at once and trying to make a place for themselves here on the show, I mean, they're obviously going to clash. And when they do, I mean, only one superstar can win a match. So I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how all these superstars fans. Oh, what an uppercut from Dean Ambrose from Cesaro. And of course, Ambrose, he's got to watch out for those vicious uppercuts. Cesaro, if he gets a couple of those, it's all over for Ambrose. Ambrose, he's going to have to watch those uppercuts. But of course, Cesaro, the uppercut is not his. Oh, what a clothesline from Ambrose. So Ambrose with a bit of a powerhouse strike of his own. Cover. Oh, but a quick kick out by Cesaro. Not showing any signs of weakness here. And of course, you know, with Cesaro, he's got a very powerful style of offense, but Dean Ambrose, he's a lunatic fringe. They call him that for a reason. He is just insane. He'll pull off moves that no normal man would be sane enough to pull off. I mean, he's not sane enough to stick to a normal arsenal of moves. I mean, Dean Ambrose, he's a lunatic. He's just off the hinge 24/7. You can never know what to expect from Dean Ambrose. He's more of a brawling style of a competitor, but also, you know, he can hit some high-flying offense. You can never count Dean Ambrose out in that category. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Two styles kind of meshed well together. We'll see who can get the advantage in this contest to kick off Raw. But right now, Cesaro dragging Ambrose away from the ropes and double foot stomp right there to the gut of Ambrose. What is Cesaro? Look at Cesaro with a springboard splash. What a move there from Cesaro. I didn't think he had it in him. And now another diving foot stomp there. Well, double foot stomp, not a diving foot stomp. I mean, wow. Just think about that. If Cesaro hit a diving double foot stomp off the top rope, wouldn't that be something? Maybe one day. Maybe someday. But right now, Cesaro... Nope, Ambrose rolls out of the way here. And Ambrose puts Cesaro over there in the corner. And look at Ambrose. Up on the second rope. Tornado DDT. Planting Cesaro face first into the mat. Ambrose now dragging Cesaro. And now look at this big kick to the gut. And one more for good measure. Taking Cesaro down. Ambrose now. Nope, counter from Cesaro. Manages to get back to his feet and looking to regain control in this one. He's got Ambrose and snap suplex, taking Ambrose down. Cesaro now trying to regain control in this one. Ambrose got to play a little bit of defense here. Dodges an uppercut. Oh, and he's got the arms tucked in. Oh, butterfly suplex there. Or double underhook suplex, whatever you prefer to call it. And now an elbow drop right there to the chest. The sternum of Cesaro. And here's Ambrose. Look at this. Maybe going for a suplex of his own. Oh, instead. Plants Cesaro face first. What a move that was. I don't even know what to call that move. But Ambrose now picks Cesaro up. And now from behind, nope, counter from Cesaro, kick to the back of the leg. And now looking to take the advantage off the shot to the leg. And now a back suplex from Cesaro, taking Ambrose down. And here's Cesaro. Delivers a couple kicks. Now picking Ambrose up here. What could he be going for now? Cesaro, look at this. Oh, Northern Light suplex. He's got Ambrose. Oh, but a kick out from Ambrose. Not even a 2 count. Ambrose doesn't want to show any signs of weakness. Beautiful counter. But, oh, dump to the outside goes Ambrose. As Cesaro now looks to take this fight to the outside. Oh, an uppercut. Staggers Dean Ambrose. And Cesaro, big right hand. But Ambrose with a counter and tosses Cesaro back into the ring. And, oh, what a shot. Elbow right to the face.
Back into the ring now.
Back into the ring now. Here we go. Ambrose picks up Cesaro. Look at this.
He's got him.
He's got him. He's dragging him over there to the ropes. What could Ambrose be going for here? Look at this. Oh, big elbow right there. But wait a minute. Ambrose fires back with a counter. And now Ambrose. That is vintage Ambrose right there. Cover. 1, 2, 3. Oh, but I think Cesaro may have just managed to get the shoulder up off the mat there. Wow, that was a close call there. Ambrose almost had Cesaro. But now Cesaro gets back to his feet. Ambrose going to be going for another clothesline. Oh, instead, a neck breaker. Nice move there, taking Cesaro down. And one more elbow drop for good measure. Dean Ambrose now. He's got Cesaro staggered right now, but Cesaro with a counter. And look at this uppercut. This one drops Ambrose. And look at this. Cesaro. He's setting Ambrose up here. Just look at the strength, the power of Cesaro. Gut wrench suplex, a deadlift from the mats. Cover. 1. No, a quick kick out there from Ambrose. But Ambrose, I don't know how much he's got left. That gut wrench suplex looked like it took a lot out of him. Cesaro, no, counter from Ambrose. Nice elbow to the face. But Cesaro with a counter. Look at this. He's got Ambrose. Michinoku driver. Hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. Cesaro got him. Cesaro puts Dean Ambrose away there. And of course, Ambrose, coming off that grueling match with Daniel Bryan last week, now suffers another loss, this time to Cesaro. And the Shield, I don't know, the future looks a bit doubtful for the Shield heading into the Royal Rumble. I mean, as singles competitors, it doesn't appear as though they can quite cut it. I mean, we've seen in the past, of course, Daniel Bryan defeating both Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose on separate occasions, and now Cesaro defeating Dean Ambrose. But then again, you know, the opponents that the Shield are getting put up against are arguably some of the top superstars here on Raw. I mean, Daniel Bryan, of course, he goes without saying. Cesaro, he's starting to really come into his own in that United States Championship division. But then again, you know, if the Shield can't tackle some of the greatest here on Raw, then how can they ever hope to achieve main event status in their own separate singles careers? So I mean, this is really kind of a trial by fire, I guess, for the Shield. But they have to do what they can. They have to try to succeed. Otherwise, you know, Triple H is just right. They can't cut it here in the WWE. But now coming down to the ring is the U.S. champ, Jack Swagger. We, the people, in full force as, wait a minute, Del Rio, he's making his entrance, but, oh, already tensions flaring. Jack Swagger takes Del Rio out at the foot of the ramp, wasting little time, not even waiting for this match, not even waiting for the bell to ring, and these two superstars going right at it. Swagger now with a nice German suplex, taking Del Rio down, and Swagger right away trying to take the fight to Del Rio. But Del Rio now strikes back and manages to create some distance here. But Swagger right back in there with a back suplex, taking Del Rio down. And I mean, right now, Jack Swagger just a full head of steam coming right at Del Rio. Look at this, going for a suplex, but Del Rio blocks it and delivers one of his own. Nice move there from Del Rio. Delivers a knee drop out of the face. But this match has not begun yet, folks. If you're wondering why the referee is not counting these two out, the bell is yet to ring. Both superstars have to get into the ring before this matchup can begin. As Del Rio back suplex, dropping Swagger right out on the concrete floor. And of course, any move here on the outside is going to do just that much more damage due to the concrete floor. There's a very thin padding that offers very little protection on the outside, and you know, hitting concrete is a lot more effective. I mean, hitting a move like that back suplex on the concrete is going to do a lot more damage than it will just on a standard wrestling ring mat. Now look at this, Del Rio is up on the apron. Is he going to make it back into the ring? Look at this crossbody, takes Swagger out, and the bell finally rings as we can get this matchup underway. But Del Rio wasting little time, locks in the cross arm breaker on Jack Swagger. And Swagger, can he escape? No! Jack Swagger taps out. Jack Swagger submits to the cross arm breaker, and Del Rio, I mean, as soon as this matchup got underway, locks in the cross arm breaker. And I mean, just look at the torque, look at the tension on that arm. Swagger, I mean, if he didn't tap out, he was going to have his arm broken. And heading into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, I mean, you can't defend your title with a broken arm. That would have just taken Swagger out of the equation before we even get to Sunday. So he had no choice. He had no choice but to tap out. But what a big victory this is for Del Rio heading into the pay-per-view. Defeats the United States Champion, and now just looking to send a message with giving Swagger a little bit extra there. And now just jaw-jacking, just insulting Jack Swagger. Just gloating the arrogance of Del Rio. As, I mean, he has every right after that victory. The #1 contender has just defeated the United States Champion. So it looks like Del Rio has the momentum heading into the pay-per-view. But there's also Big E. This is not just a one-on-one matchup. There's also Big E to contend with. So, I mean, it appears as though Del Rio has the momentum over Swagger. But of course, I mean, it's a triple threat environment. That could have very little effect on the matchup in the long run because, I mean, it's a triple threat matchup. You always got to watch your back. You got to make sure that you take out both your opponents before you can even hope to have a chance at winning the match. So, I mean, Del Rio, he may have the advantage now, but we'll see how the situation goes once we actually get into the triple threat matchup for the title at the Royal Rumble. But for now, we move on to our main event of the evening. It's Bryan and CM Punk, the greatest of all teams, the GOATs, if you'd rather call them that, taking on the Shield in a rematch from the Vengeance pay-per-view. CM Punk, he's been on a very good winning streak since WWE 2K15 season began. I mean, of course, a victory over Batista, a tag team victory with John Cena over Batista and Kane. CM Punk right now, he's really managed to get himself back on track. I mean, on the last episode of 2K14 Universe Mode, he defeated the Rated R superstar Edge. A few weeks before that, he defeated The Undertaker, who was at the time the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. CM Punk, he's on quite a roll. And a victory over the Shield here, I think, makes him the favorite for the Royal Rumble match. But, of course, that's all ifs, ands. I mean, that's... Never mind. I messed up that statement. It's all what-ifs. Because we can't just jump to conclusions because the Shield... defeating the Shield in a tag team matchup is no easy feat. As CM Punk and Bryan are aware. I mean, back at Vengeance, they were unsuccessful. They lost to the Shield. Can they get the job done here tonight? I mean, this is a more mature, more skilled, more credible Shield that they're going up against. But then again, this is a more credible Bryan and a more credible CM Punk. I mean, at the time, CM Punk had been on a bit of a downward spiral since losing the WWE Championship. And Bryan really hadn't been doing much at the time. He was just kind of floating around, not really doing much on the Raw brand. Had just kind of recently came over from SmackDown. So now, I mean, all four of these superstars have established themselves to a higher degree. So this is going to be a huge matchup. We'll finally get to see who truly is the greater of these two teams. As next counter from Roman Reigns taking Bryan down. Will it be the Shield or will it be the GOATs getting the win in this tag team matchup? We're about to find out. Roman Reigns, a nice counter to the Irish Whip. And plants Bryan face first into the mat as he makes a tag. In comes Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, of course, the architect of the Shield. Wait a minute. Bryan looking to catch him off guard here, but quick kick out at one. Seth Rollins, the architect of the Shield, the most technical superstar in the ring, but he's also quite the high flyer. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, Seth Rollins, he's crazy, the moves he can pull off inside that ring. You always got to keep your eye on Seth Rollins here, and I'd have to say that even though Roman Reigns, he may look the goods, have you know, a more powerful offense, and he just has a bigger presence than Seth Rollins does. I'd still say Seth Rollins is the man you want to watch out for. Whereas CM Punk, nice move there, into the cover, but a kick out from Rollins. But as I was going to say, when you look at a team like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, they are evenly matched, in my opinion. They both have a similar skill set, and they're equals. They're equals in that ring. Both are good technicians. Both can pull off spectacular high-flying moves. Both are well-versed with submissions. So really, I mean, they're almost kind of one and the same person. I mean, they both are just equally skilled in the ring. So, I mean, really, there isn't really a weak link to this team, and I've said really way too many times. So you kind of have to look at this team. The best hope you can have for either team, for that matter, is to single one of these superstars out. That's the whole point of a tag team matchup, is to isolate one member of the opposing team and just wear them out. And that's what the Shield, they've been very successful at since making their debut here in the WWE. That's how they've managed to defeat legends like Stone Cold, like The Rock, like The Undertaker, like Daniel Bryan, like CM Punk, because they've managed to pull off that formula to a T. They've managed to perfectly execute like the perfect formula for a tag team matchup, just isolating their opponent, wearing them out, and eventually putting them down. Whereas you look at, I mean, the teams that have gone up against the Shield in the past haven't had the best communication in terms of, I mean, you can be a good tag team, but when you go up against such a well-oiled machine, such a tightly knit group as the Shield, you're going to have some communication errors. You're going to look like an unskilled tag team, because that's just how good the Shield is. CM Punk now, as we can see right now, he's taking a beating here from Roman Reigns. Daniel Bryan, there's nothing he can do right now. CM Punk, now look at Reigns just wailing away on the face of CM Punk with those vicious right hands. And of course, Punk, if you're going up against a guy like Roman Reigns, you got to watch out for those powerful moves he does possess. He may not be as, oh, a Superman punch! Just like that, Roman Reigns could have this matchup. Oh, but a kick out. Not even a 1 count. Punk somehow manages to kick out there. But that's just like I was saying, you got to watch out for those explosive, powerful moves like the Superman punch, like the spear. Because just like that, at a moment's notice, the match could be over for you. And CM Punk, he knows that. He's trying to make a tag to Daniel Bryan, bringing the fresh man. And Bryan now tagged into this matchup. Bryan with a nice counter, looking to take Roman Reigns out. Oh, what a counter from Reigns! Takes Bryan down. And of course, if you're Reigns, there's no way you can match the cardio of these two superstars. You want to look to end this matchup quickly and suddenly. I mean, you got to catch them off guard with something, because you can't out-wrestle these two superstars. There's no way you'll be able to outlast them. I mean, Seth Rollins could probably keep up with the pace, the style of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, but Roman Reigns, he's going to want to work a bit of a slower pace matchup. Going to look to hit the slow, powerful, just sadistic moves that he possesses. You go for something like, of course, the Superman punch, the spear, moves you can hit out of nowhere that your opponent can't even see coming. And I mean, you don't want to be running around in a fast-paced matchup, hitting moves off the top rope against guys like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, because they're going to destroy you if you let them get to the top rope, and if you let them move around the ring. So, if anything, Roman Reigns wants to try to pick apart some sort of a body part. Maybe go for a leg, or maybe, as he's doing right now, just kind of work on the back. Just do something so your opponent can't move around the ring at those high speeds. And just set them up, make them even more vulnerable for one of those Superman punches, or even the spear. But Daniel Bryan, you can't let Bryan get... This is another thing. You can't let them get the crowd behind them, as Daniel Bryan is doing right now. Roundhouse kick to the side of the head. Reigns could be out cold. Covered by Bryan, but look at this. Rollins immediately gets into the ring. Breaks that one up before even a count. And Reigns now, he's got to try to recover. Bryan appears a bit distracted with Rollins. And Rollins, very smart strategy there from Rollins, buying Reigns time to recover, goading Daniel Bryan to attack him, and then just like that, pulling down the... Oh, DDT! Onto the concrete floor. Bryan could be out of it. Rollins, I mean, first he isolated Bryan, got him to the outside, and then a big DDT onto the concrete floor. And look at Reigns now. Reigns just tossing Daniel Bryan around, the headbutt to the back of the head. I mean, after Bryan got hit with that DDT, he's got to be out of it right now. And, oh, now an elbow to the face. Reigns now taking full control. But you have, of course, to give the assist to Seth Rollins. As Reigns now Irish whips Bryan over there into the corner. And headbutt now from Reigns. Oh, just look at the powerful strikes to the head. Very calculated from Reigns. And, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Reigns is measuring him here. What's he going for? Look at this. Oh, a drop kick right to the side of the head. And Bryan, just the head repeatedly targeted. Reigns into a cover. Bryan could be out cold. 2 count. That's it, folks. And I think really what did it was that DDT onto the concrete floor. I mean, Rollins with all that force just driving Bryan headfirst into the floor, the concrete. Bryan, he never really could bounce back from that. And Reigns picking up on the cue from Seth Rollins, just focusing his attack on the head. And Bryan could very well have a concussion after that. When you have such a powerhouse like Reigns, if he can target his moves to one specific area, especially something as vulnerable as the head, you can't really come back from that. As Bryan, that drop kick to the head, I really think the DDT is what put him out of this matchup. But that drop kick, you know, just added insult to injury, just really made sure that Bryan was not getting back up. And the Shield, Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins get the victory, and the game is going to freeze. So I want to thank y'all for watching. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode, which will be the go-home episode of Main Event. Then we've got SmackDown, and then, of course, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up very shortly. Plan on working on those promo videos pretty soon. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have one for the Royal Rumble and maybe one for the Daniel Bryan-Brock Lesnar matchup. So until then, I want to thank y'all for watching. Keep on YouTubing.